Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday. The date, 2/22/22. How often does that happen? I don't know. We just have to do some research and see. But anyway, welcome to today's State Government Committee in beautiful downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Mr. Clerk, would you do us a roll count, see if we have quorum, please?
Representatives Alexander, Beck, Bricken, Carr, Carringer, Chisholm, Cooper, Halford, Helton, Holsclaw, Holsey, Jernigan, Johnson, Littleton, Marsh, Moon, Powell, Wendell, Vice Chairman Eldridge, Chairman Kiesling.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We appreciate that. And how about, do we have members? Do you have any announcements or personal orders from you? We do. Representative Carringer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to kind of go along with what was made in history on this particular day of February 22nd, I want to wish my husband a very happy birthday, who was born February 22nd of 1958. So very thankful for this day. So happy birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Dr. Mike. We're thinking of you down here, all right? Any other personal orders? Comments? Well, the chair does. I usually do, don't I? Let me let's begin. I've got some our analyst, myself, have some really exciting news, members, that's forthcoming. He's working diligently, Mr. Witt is, in putting together a couple of tours, as a matter of fact. First one is with their TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and the other one is hopefully with TEMA over at the TEMA headquarters. It'll be very interesting. There will be a footnote or a caveat to that. The chair is going to require a minimum of 10 members from this body to commit to one or both of those tours. We are, as I say, we're working very hard to get that done. But again, a minimum commitment of 10 members. Now, of course, we want our staff. You all will be included in this should you want to. So further news about this will be forthcoming from Nathan here. So with that, we'll do it there. We'll leave it at that. All right. Our next is, of course, this day in history. And we want to begin by turning our attention to our left members, to Chairman Moon. It was 20 years ago today that Chairman Moon became a grandfather. His son, the birth of his grandson, Gant Lee Dunaway. Today is his 20th birthday. Is that correct? He is currently a student at Loyola University, Chicago. God bless him. We appreciate him. Appreciate you, Chairman Moon. All right, let's go to 1732, the year. It was George Washington. He was born in Westmoreland County. The county seat there is Montrose, Virginia. He was an unenthusiastic political leader. Washington nevertheless recognized his unique and symbolic role in keeping a fledgling nation together. He worked hard to reconcile competing factions within his administration, was keenly aware of setting unwritten rules of conduct and future presidents. 1959, it was Lee Petty defeats Johnny Beauchamp in a photo finish at the just opened the first Daytona International Speedway race there in Daytona. The race was so close that Beauchamp was initially named the winner by William France, who was the owner of the track and head of NASCAR at that time. And finally, let's go to 1980, and one of the most dramatic upsets in Olympic history. The underdog U.S. hockey team, made up of college players, defeats the four-time defending gold medal winning Soviet team at 13, I don't know, whatever. I don't know how many, is that 13th Olympic Winter Games in Lake Placid, New York. The Soviet squad, previously regarded as the finest in the world, fell to the youthful American team 4-3. Wow, what a win, wasn't it? Wow, everybody watched that. With that, Chairman Todd, if you do not mind, and members, we're going to go out of sequence just a moment here on our calendar, and we're going to move to item number 3. So focus in on item number 3, and that will be House Bill 2172. It's being carried today by Chairman Hawk for Leader Lambert. With that, we're going to ask for a motion, and we do have one. Representative Hawk, you're recognized, sir.
Chairman Kiesling, thank you so much. This is an agreed upon bill that our governor's office and our state employees have been working on for quite some time now. At the request of our stakeholders, this bill codifies the current burden of proof policy in step 3 of the employee disciplinary appeal process. It essentially does what we've been doing already. And it also cleans up some other language in code to help our state employees. With that, answer any questions the committee may have.
Very good. All right. Any questions to the bill sponsor? Got a question called on the bill, and I see no objection. So with that, let us vote on House Bill 2172. Those in favor, please say aye. And those opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. And you are off to, where's he off to? Calendar and rules.
Thank you
Chairman.
so much, Chairman and members.
Thank you, sir. Jump over there. Get on over there at that next committee, brother. All right. Chairman Todd. Good to have you with us today on House Bill 1638. And we have a motion and a second. And Chairman, I see we have an amendment, do we not?
We do, sir.
Could you give us the appropriate drafting code for the amendment?
013889.
That is correct. And let's get this amendment on the bill. Those in, give me a motion. I got a motion here. Yes, I do. Got a motion and we got a second. With that, we turn our attention now to you, Chairman Todd. You are recognized,
Thank you,
sir,
Mr.
on
Chairman.
the amendment. Yes, sir.
I'm here today to present to you House Bill 1638 on behalf of Speaker Sexton and myself as a member of the Capitol Commission. This legislation is being brought to clarify that the legislature is in complete control of the second floor of the Capitol building. It has some other details in there. This amendment actually clarifies that general services can do their normal maintenance and upkeep, and that's really what this amendment does, and it makes the bill.
Okay, you've heard an explanation of the amendment. Yes, Representative Powell, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you and appreciate you bringing the bill. So who else was trying to control the second floor, might I ask?
Chairman Todd.
Who else is trying to control the second
Yes.
floor? I think that we have noticed some things being installed on the second floor that were not authorized, and that this is just to clarify that things cannot be installed or changed out without the two speakers' approval.
Representative Powell. Oh, okay. Any further questions? All right. Yes, we do. Chairman Bricken, you're recognized, sir.
I was just curious why this would have a fiscal note to it.
Chairman Todd.
I am not exactly sure myself, quite frankly.
Further questions, Chairman? Okay, he says no. All right, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Let's get we've got the amendment. Let's vote on the amendment. Do I see any, I don't see any opposition to the calling of the question on the amendment. Let us vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. The amendment is now on. Okay, with that, do you have any further question or comments then, Chairman Todd?
I do
this
not,
one?
sir. Thank you.
You got it. Okay. All right. Further questions? None. Called for the question. We have it. And no opposition. So we are now voting on House Bill 1638 as amended. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. 1638 passes and goes on. You're going on finance, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Chairman Rudd is up. he comes in today, number 3 on America's Top 40. All right, we have a motion and a second. House Bill 2659, and I see an amendment.
We have
Do or not,
the
could you give us-
amendment number 2, 13972 makes the bill.
That is spot on. You're correct, sir. And it does make the bill. So we need a motion. How about a motion and a second? We have it. So we have a motion and a second. So let us, and I see no opposition to the calling of the question. Let us vote on let us vote on amendment. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. As the sponsor said, it does make the bill. So with that, it is now on the bill. Chairman Rudd, you're recognized, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this bill does, I'm presenting this on behalf of Speaker Sexton. The legislation being brought does require that the entity contracts with the Mega Site Authority of West Tennessee report to the State Building Commission and to the Speaker of the Senate and to the House. The main objective to this is right now the Mega Site Authority and Ford are entering into private contracts without our knowledge, and we want them to report to us and disclose to us in full transparency what exactly they're going into so we can review them. And give you an example, there was a story today in the Tennessee Journal that I'll read part of it with your permission, which is a big motivating factor of why this is happening. The prospect backed up last December when Ford signed an agreement with a trade union representative group covering 30,000 construction project jobs projected to build the facility over the next 3 years. The Tennessee Journal reported as such. And the company has entered into a relationship that is requiring that a certain number of the jobs be union. That automatically shuts out a lot of Tennessee employers from contracting on the site. And what we want to do is have full disclosure on that and know what's going on. So again, that is the main purpose of this, so that they can report to the State Building Commission and to the speakers so they're aware of everything going on site.
Very good. Good explanation. Representative Powell, you're recognized, sir.
Yeah, are these records going to be subject to open records, or are these only going to be restricted to the Speaker's office?
Chairman Rudd.
In the Lieutenant Governor's office.
I would assume, since they're involving government funds and the commission, which is a government entity, that they would be open to, I'm assuming they would be open to to a public act, yes, to a public request for information. Now, if it is a private agreement involving Ford funds and not ours, we probably would not be able to see that.
Okay.
Further questions, Representative Powell.
I appreciate that. I know there was some concern expressed, when this was going through to establish, the whole mega site, concerns about open records and what's available and what's not. So that's good to know that most of this will be available. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Further questions to the sponsor? See none. Got a call for the question? We do, and I see no opposition. Let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2659 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. And
Thank you, Chairman.
you're going to CNR, calendar and rules, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And we're back. We are now item number 4, House Bill 2472. My good neighbor, Mr. Chairman Powell, good to have you with us today, brother.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back in cleanup today. Number 4.
All right. If you would, you're now recognized, sir.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Proceed.
House Bill 2472 is going to aid many organizations throughout our state that right now they support all of our local charities. They're currently prevented from raising any kind of money for 5 years until their 501c3 or 501c19 designation after they receive it. So House Bill 2472 will simply lower that blackout period from 5 years to 3 years. Give you an example, the Tennessee Home Builders Association, they've been around for 25 years. So they have applied and they would have had to wait 5 years. We're lowering that to 3. They raise money for scholarships and other programs. another local charity that I deal with called the LA Cruisers. They raise money for a children's center. They've been around 20 years. So a lot of these companies like this, organizations rather, have been around for a long time, but instead of having that 5-year waiting period, now they only have to wait 3 years. And the Secretary of State's office is deferred on the bill. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Parris. Any questions to the sponsor? We got a question. We're moving right along. We have a question on the bill, question called, and I see no objections to that. Let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2472, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. And Chairman, you're headed to Finance, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Congratulations.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you. Item number 5, Chairman Howell. It's good to have you with us today, sir. And you are bringing to us, we have a motion and a second. Already you're bringing to us House Bill 2125. You may proceed, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you, Chairman and Committee. Committee members, there are numerous vendors who do business with the state parks system throughout Tennessee. This bill actually originated in my district with the Ocoee River Outfitters Association. They have contracts with the state park system, with TDEC, governing the operations on the river, which is operated and managed by the state park system. These contracts with the park system are public record, but there are certain proprietary information that, because of the contract, has to be given to TDEC to ensure that they are abiding by the contract. What this bill seeks to do is to protect those businesses' proprietary information, such as gross sales, number of customers, anything that a normal business would want to protect against a competitor. That's what this bill does, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Good explanation. Questions to the sponsor? Got a question called on the bill. I see no objections. Let us vote. Let's vote on House Bill 2125. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. 2125, Chairman Howell, you are moving on to government ops, sir.
Thank you very much.
See you there. You bet. All right. Item number 6, Representative Gillespie. All right, we got a motion and a second. Representative Gillespie, good to have you with us with House Bill 2638. How about an explanation there, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is good to be here as well. I really enjoy your this day in history, so I just want to put that on the record before I present.
Thank you, sir.
So what this does is it just opens up the window to apply for a charitable gaming permit from the Secretary of State's office. I have a constituent that kind of missed that window, and it's just opening it up for 3 days after March 9th. And with that,
Okay, very good. Any questions to the sponsor? Got a question called on the bill. I see no objections to the calling of the question. Let us vote on House Bill 2638. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. House Bill 2638 you're going to calendar and rules, Representative Gillespie.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 7, lucky 7, I bet. Isn't that the way we call it, Representative Freeman? Lucky number 7. That's House Bill 2238. And we have a motion and a second. With that, Representative Freeman, would you please explain the language, sir?
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. House Bill 2238 aligns Tennessee law with the recently effective Federal Craft Beverage Modernization Act. Under this legislation, a Tennessee distillery can share or lease to another Tennessee distillery license holder their equipment to manufacture alcohol and take advantage of the federal tax saving afforded under this federal act. These alternating proprietorship agreements, as they're formally called, must individually receive approval from both the TTB and the TABC prior to commencing. We've had multiple conversations with the TABC and they've signed off on this.
Okay, very good. Good explanation. All right, do we have any questions to the sponsor? Got a call for the question. All right, with that, let us vote on House Bill 2238. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it. House Bill 2238 now moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman
So
and Committee.
just stay put, Representative Freeman. You're coming in with item also number 8. Item number 8, House Bill 2240. Proceed, sir, with an explanation, please.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 2240 is exactly like the bill that we just heard from Representative Gillespie. It extends the period for someone applying for a gaming license to open up for a 3-day period beginning March 9th. And the exception is my legislation requires the event to take place before June 30th of 2022.
Okay, very good. Need a well, we got one. I thought we did. You reminded me, we got a motion and a second. Now we have a call for the question. So let us vote on House Bill 2240. Those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. House Bill 2240 now moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Thank you, sir. Item number, what is that, 9? We've got, item number 9. That is Leader Marsh with House Bill 2682. Just remain seated there, Leader, and we'll give you the honors in explaining this. We've got a motion and a second. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill removes obsolete reference in the provision regarding use of census information, adds a reference to the 2020 federal census information published by the United States Census Bureau to the Tennessee Code annotated. It deletes an obsolete code referencing relating to classification of counties for determining compensation of a judge. Requests the Tennessee Code Commission to include the web address for the redistricting summary file for the state of Tennessee and Tennessee Code annotated. I'll answer any questions.
All righty. He will entertain questions now. Any questions to Leader Marsh? I see none, and we've got a call for the question. I see no objections. So with that, let us vote on House Bill 2682. Those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. House Bill 2682 now moves on to calendar and rules. Item 10, Chairman Jernigan. You may remain right there, sir, on House Bill 1697. You have the floor, sir. Proceed. You've got, by the way, we've already got a motion and a second. Proceed, sir.
Hot dog.
Yeah,
Okay.
buddy.
Members, House Bill 1697 will allow a retired law enforcement officer who is authorized to carry a firearm in this state under the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act, known as LEOSA, allow them to direct and regulate traffic. And with that, I would happy to answer any questions.
Well, of course, thank you, sir, for that explanation. Sure. And before we recognize Chairman Halsey with his question, you said direct traffic, so you'd be limited to directing traffic only. Is that
direct and regulate traffic only? Correct.
Okay, got you. Chairman Halsey, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you. I just add one question. Is this somebody who drives up on a crash and they're just going to help out, or are they in a uniform for an agency? And then if they're out there, I just had the question is if they get injured, who is responsible for workman's?
All right, Chairman Jernigan.
If they get injured, it's
that may be something we need to go out of
a workman's comp
session on and let our legal team.
That
Chairman, do you want to refer that to our legal folks
sure.
here?
I'll be happy to go out of session, refer to legal.
Would be okay. Let's do that. We will go out of session and quickly we'll turn the mic over to our legal. folks.
Thank you, Matt Mundy, for the record from legal. I understood this to be a voluntary service provided by retired officers who are authorized to still carry their firearm. So I don't think they would be covered by the insurance of the law enforcement agency.
Questions to legal, Chairman Halsey? No follow-up? Okay, for any other, yes, we do, Chairman, yes, Chairman Bricken, you're recognized. First to legal.
Would the retired officer be directing traffic for school zones, or is that where this was intended, or?
Mr. Mundy?
The statute, thank you, Matt Money, for the record. The statute doesn't specify the circumstances under which they're directing traffic, so I assume it would be open-ended depending on what the need is in the local jurisdiction for assisting with directing traffic, whether it's a church or a school or any other instance or situation that may arise.
Follow up, Chairman Bricken? No. Chairman Holtzclaw, you're recognized, sir.
Still out of session?
We are, yes, sure.
I'll wait till we go back in session.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. He says we're going to wait then. All right. Further questions to legal? We do. Representative Beck, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to legal, I've got that normally there wouldn't be an employer, but does this cover retired police officers who are being contracted to direct traffic or paid hourly to direct traffic also, or is this just for volunteer situations?
Mr. Mundy.
Again, I understood it to just be for volunteer situations. If they are under a contract, there might be some liability on behalf of the agency that they're contracting with. And that would just be subject to the terms of the contract, whatever they may be.
Follow up, Representative Beck.
So if there is an employer or an agency, then there would be a workers' comp coverage. But if it's strictly a volunteer, then there would not, there's no company to provide workers' comp, so there would not be workers' comp. Is that a true statement?
Mr. Mundy.
That's my understanding. I think the issue of liability would be covered under his personal policy.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, sir. Further questions to legal before we go return to session? All right, see none. All right. Let us know objection. We will go back into session. Back to you, Chairman Jernigan. Have you got anything to follow up on? Wait a minute. We do have. Yes, we do. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Chairman Holtzclaw, you're recognized, sir. You're up.
The reason that you're so inquisitive, Bud, is you're applying for a position. Thank you, Chairman.
All right. Okay. You want to comment to that, Chairman Jernigan? Back.
That's
All right.
No,
Follow up. You're recognized, sir.
No, sir. I think it's important that right now, an officer could go out and if they're a security guard, right, and they have a security guard license, and it could be you have a security guard license, you can go out there and direct traffic. What this does is under LEOSA, which has more strict testing, and you have to go through post once a year in order to keep LEOSA. It allows them to go out there under that license instead of a security guard license and direct traffic in case of an emergency, especially when they're out there in a security guard status. That's what it was intended to do. So I'm carrying this bill for the FOP, and I would appreciate your support on it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Further questions to Chairman Jernigan, the bill sponsor? We have a call for the question. I see no objections to that, so let us vote on House Bill 1697. Those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. And Chairman Jernigan, 1697 is headed to calendar and rules, sir. Thank you. And finally, item number 11. Chairman Wendell is coming in with House Bill 2339. Chairman Wendell, you are recognized. We have a motion and a second, sir. You're recognized.
Mr. Chairman and members, we have approximately 400
correctional officer 1 positions at Morgan County Regional Correctional Facilities. Within the last 12 months, we had a vacancy rate, not rate, but total numbers of up 250 vacancies. So out of 400 officer positions, there'd be between 200 and 250 vacant at any time. What that meant was, at the end of any shift, you get a tap on the shoulder, you've got to stay over, and you are requested to work overtime for one more shift. You were drafted, so to speak. And this situation continued for almost 24 months. And to his credit, Governor Lee steps in with executive action and gives the correctional officer series, the security series, a substantial pay raise. As a result, the occupancy rate has declined precipitously, and things are better, to Governor Lee's credit. However, many of us, maybe most of us, as I look around the room, have employees that work for the Tennessee Department of Correction with a $1.1, 2, 3, or $4 billion budget, and the non-security series, which is also considered in the preferred service of the state of Tennessee, they did not get this rate. And I'm not here to criticize the governor. He has to make his priorities, but as I told the subcommittee, sometime this week, I'll be going to a restaurant somewhere in East Tennessee, and it won't be the Cherokee Country Club, but it'll be in Harriman, Rockwood, Oak Ridge, Wartburg, and somebody will walk up to me in that restaurant and say, "John Mark, you got a second?" And they'll sit down and they'll say, "I'm a maintenance worker at the prison," or a teacher, whatever the classification is. I go inside the wire every day. My job is a security job because I work inside the wire with people. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're in prison for a reason. At least some of them, most of them, hopefully. And the question that's posed to me every time is, why didn't we get the raise? I mean, and I want my sisters and brothers to have a raise, and I'm all for that. But my children need things. My family has needs also. Why is it the security series gets the raise and we don't get the raise? And I don't want to debate as to why that happened. The only purpose of this is to get this to the finance committee to try to give these state employees who have other opportunities with the private sector and also other state jobs, which may be more attractive than going inside a prison every day with, and everybody's not a murderer, rapist. I don't want to paint a picture worse than it is, but it's pretty bad inside the prisons in some of them. And it's a tough environment. And I know some of our members have had friends that have been shanked and stabbed in the last year. I certainly have, and people I know personally. I've had close personal friends that were murdered by prisoners. I mean, that's the term, murdered. So, and I feel sure that most people agree with me about this, but if we could just get this to finance, but in addition, I'd appreciate your help to try to get some money for these hardworking state employees. And it's really not a political issue. It's a matter of fairness, and these people deserve a raise. So I'd appreciate your consideration. And with that, I'll
Thank you.
defer to somebody else.
Thank you, Chairman Wendell. We do have some, we have a lineup of some questionnaires here. So we're going to begin with Chairman Holesclaw. You are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. The question I have on the verbiage of it, does the correctional officers also including this 15%, or did they get another kicker versus just the employees? How's that going to work?
Chairman Wendell.
It was system-wide because I'm not an expert on the preferred service employees, and I did not want to leave anybody out. So in an abundance of caution, I included everybody, and if necessary, we can trim back. But I didn't want to leave out one employee or one group of employees and then have to go back and explain that to them. I'd rather cast too big of a net and then come backwards as to try to apologize for what I didn't do. So that's the reason I drafted as it is, because the preferred service classifications are, I'm not an HR expert. The U.S. Army says I am, but I may not be. But I want to make sure we caught all the classifications. And this catches all classifications. And everybody knows that there's a problem inside the prisons. There's too many drugs. There's too much, well, I won't go into the other part, but there's too many drugs and other bad things going on. and we've got to have competent people going in because we owe a duty not just to those employees, but also to the inmates that want to do right. I mean, it's not fair to put an inmate in that's done wrong. He or she wants to do right, and he's in the middle of a gang mess every day.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough of that.
Chairman Holsclaw, you want to follow up with anything there?
No, thank you, Chairman. That's it.
You're welcome, sir. On to Chairman Halsey. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to follow up with John's question, he and I both Saturday morning just met with Tennessee state employees, and a lot of them were out of Northeast Correction. They were worried about the verbiage in the bill that this would be another 15% for security folks, and they wouldn't get anything. And I didn't know if you were maybe look between now, time it passes this committee and the next one, if we could, you'd be a whole lot closer getting finance to finance it when you exclude the safety officers, because they got a pretty substantial raise, and just concentrate on these folks. And I agree with you. They need a raise bad.
And that's a fair observation. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Chair Wendell, let us, I'd like to draw our attention. If there's no objections, I want to go out of session. We're going to go out of session, turn our attention to Mr. Mundy, legal. Mr. Mundy, could you chime in here with us and give us a little more clear direction here?
Sure. Thank you, Chairman. Matt Money from Legal. Just to clarify to who this applies to, preferred service is defined in Title VIII regarding public officers and employees as all offices and positions of employment in the state service. State service is defined as meaning all officers and positions of trust or employment in the service of state government in the executive branch. And it goes on. So I think it's a very broad net.
Okay, thank you. Well, before we go, Chairman Wendell, we're out of session. Two questions to legal. Do you have one, Chairman Wendell, to legal? Any other questions to legal then? Okay, no objection. We'll go back. We'll go back into session. Now we're back into session. We have Chairman Bricken. Wait a minute. Is there any other questions? I'm sorry, Chairman Bricken. Is there any other questions, Chairman Halsey, that you have or comments? Okay. No, I'm sorry, Chairman Bricken. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as representative of Coffee County and Tullahoma, who's home of the nation's greatest corrections training academy, I certainly got a lot of calls from their employees on this. And so I certainly fully support this. I agree with the other representative. I think it needs to exclude, at least to a level, the corrections safety officers. And also I'll add, I don't know what the grading scale at the state is, but if you're in senior management, I could exclude those. I think it needs to go to the rank and file employees in corrections that were excluded last year. And if we can get the bill narrowed down to that level, I think, I hope it would pass and we can find the funding for it. So I'll say there.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Chairman Wendell, follow up on that.
I mean, I appreciate your input, and those of you who represent areas that have a prison, the number one employer I've got, and to their credit, my constituents don't give me a pass. They don't want to hear excuses from me. And with that in mind, and with the input from my colleagues, why don't we ask legal as a group to draft an amendment which addresses the concerns that have been articulated by my colleagues, and we'll come up with an amendment and move forward with an amendment that everybody's happy with. Because, and I don't want to beat this to death, but I hear this every week. I mean, it's not, maybe some of you are in the same shape I am, but I have to, and I don't live in a slam dunk district. I have to work. So,
yeah, we
I'd appreciate your
understand.
help.
Yeah, sure. We don't have to go, we're not going to go back out of session to ask this question to you, Mr. Mundy or Mr. Houston. Could you follow up? You've heard the request from the chairman, sponsor. Okay, that's very good. Yes, we do. Chairman Moon, you're recognized this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Procedure then, let me see if we're clear. Is the sponsor going to roll for 1 week while we prepare an amendment, Mr. Chairman?
But just one moment. I'd like to turn to legal. Mr. Mundy, we're going to recognize you at this time.
Thank you, Matt Money from Legal. Just as a practical consideration, since there's a lot of interest from different people in here, just if you all want to give us some direction as to who that may apply to or who wouldn't it apply to while we're here out of session, so that we can take some notes, or we can work off the record collaboratively after the meeting.
Chairman Wendell.
Mr. Chairman, and I think I can speak for the group, or I'm going to try. Maybe call down, but I'll make an effort. If we can include all the employees who didn't get the previous raise from Governor Lee. And again, I'm not here to criticize Governor Lee, but for those of you who don't represent prison, you don't understand what kind of blowback there was as a result of being overlooked and not having a substantial pay raise for 20 years. It was not, it's serious business for these folks. And I know some of you can empathize with where I'm coming from, because again, I've had gobs, for lack of a better term, of inquiries. Am I wrong? Somebody else back me up on that, please. I mean, we've all had inquiries. Kelly, I mean, Chairman, you have
Many times. Oh, yes.
So,
Sure.
but if you can get this, if we can get this right, just to include the employees that didn't bump automatically to 45,000. Those who got the bump to 45,000, it'd be my preference to give them a raise, but I understand there's got to be limits. But
Chairman Moon, I'm sorry. Was there anything else to add there?
We're good.
Chairman,
I'm just part
Chairman
of the group.
Moon, back to you. Now, my apology. Would you restate what you
I'm just
said?
asking if sponsor be willing to roll this bill 1 week so appropriate amendment can be written.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
And I'll
Agreed
work
to
with
do.
you offline, but I think the articulation that it includes everybody who didn't get the raise from Governor Lee, because I don't want to overlook anybody, because I don't think anybody does. But if we could include everybody who didn't get included on Governor Lee's raise in correction.
Chairman Bricken.
I think that's great, but I also would like to put a certain level tier of that would not also get the raise. In other words, senior at a certain level. I'm not sure what that is because I don't know all the tiers, but if you're a commissioner in corrections or a warden, that might need to be excluded. So
That's right. And I'll work with you offline, but if we could get those individuals who make less than $100,000 a year for $75,000.
Somebody give me a motion. Let's roll this a week. We did. We've got a second. We're going.
That's fair.
Fair enough. Okay. Let us do that. This is going to be rolled 1 week. If no objections, we're going to roll for a week here. That's good. All right. Very good. Next, we have a presentation, and we're going to ask Sarah, Ms. Urban, if you would, and you're any team members that you have with you, we're going to ask you to come forward. And as she is seated, let me quickly read just a little bit of bio, if you don't mind, Ms. Urban. She is the executive director of the Tennessee Distillers Guide, working with distilleries statewide to manage and grow the industry, as well as to promote the whiskey trail. If I may, everyone. Her career began at historic Rock Castle, a nonprofit house museum in Hendersonville, where she served as executive director. From there, she took a position with the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development to serve the Middle Tennessee Division Manager, and it goes on and on and on. And that is good. We appreciate your service. Sarah is a Nashville native and proud graduate of Mitsu. Now, you know, people make fun of me, Sarah, when I acknowledge that it's Middle Tennessee State University, and I are you offended when I say Mitsu? You're not, are you? Of course you're not. from which she earned her master's degree in public history and where she serves as an adjunct professor in the tourism program. It is good to have you with us today. Thank you for being here. And we're going to, again, allow, for the record, you have to identify yourself and the gentleman who is with you. Welcome.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
I'm Sarah Beth Urban. I'm the executive director of the Tennessee Distillers Guild.
And I'm Matt Cunningham. I'm the founder and owner of Old Glory Distilling Company in Clarksville, Tennessee, Montgomery County.
Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for having us today. I'm excited to get a chance to update you on the amazing progress that the distilling industry has had in the state of Tennessee. We are here to responsibly promote and advocate for the distilling industry in Tennessee through the collective voice of our members. We currently have 33 members, although we're actually onboarding 4 more right now as of last week. So we'll have 37 soon. They pay annual dues. They sign a code of conduct that includes a section on responsibility, which is a very important part of what we do. We also operate the Tennessee Whiskey Trail, which is a statewide program that includes 28 distilleries and stretches all the way from Memphis to Bristol. We welcomed 6.6 million visitors to our distilleries last year with over 10,000 digital passports online, and we employ over 1,800 people at our distilleries across the state. And you can see in this map that several of your districts are represented on the Tennessee Whiskey Trail. In 2021, we had probably one of our best years yet, definitely rebounding from COVID, but at the same time, we're able to see a lot of substantial growth. We added 2 members last year. Like I said, we've already doubled that for this year, adding 4 more. We hosted educational webinar series for our members, launched a brand new website to help really put our name out there and let people know that we're a strong brand, enhanced our associate membership program so that other businesses could partner with our distilleries, updated our code of conduct to create stronger language around sexual harassment and discrimination, did a strategic planning retreat with our board of directors, and updated our policies and procedures. Our members, just so you kind of have an idea of where we stretch and who we cover, we cover members as small as Bootleggers, which is in Cott County, and obviously as large as Jack Daniels in Lynchburg. We have our newer members like Pursue Spirits at Mossback Distilling, which is in Jefferson City, Tennessee. And then we have founding members like Billy Kaufman at Short Mountain in Cannon County. We have historic distilleries that have been around for ages, like Cascade Hollow, where they make George Dickel. And then we have newer brands that are actually resurrecting historic brands like Old Dominick and Memphis. Obviously, we have moonshiners out in East Tennessee making moonshine in every flavor you can possibly imagine, as well as Tennessee whiskey distilleries across the state, including Nelson's and Matt at Old Glory in Clarksville. And then we have ones that are located in weird locations too. So you've got H. Clark Distillery, which is in a historic granary in Thompson Station. And then you have Brushy Mountain, which has a distillery inside the old state penitentiary. So as you can see, a wide variety on the trail. There's something almost there for everyone. The trail itself, we added 4 members last year within our guild members, launched a new online passport. And in the picture there, you can actually see a version of our printed passport. And one of our visitors sent us that. They had actually completed the trail, and they've collected all of the poker chips. You have a commemorative poker chip you can take home with you at each distillery. We collaborate a lot with the hospitality industry. We couldn't be where we are without the support of Tennessee tourism and the hotels and restaurants that support our distilleries. And then we've hosted several events in the past year, including ones in Memphis, Granville, Franklin, and Townsend. So we run across the board for sure. And if you've been at the Nashville International Airport recently and haven't been to 3 Casks, I highly recommend it. It's a brand new restaurant that is themed around the Tennessee Whiskey Trail. All of our guild members are represented in that store. You can get a cocktail with it or take a bottle to go. And it's also a collaboration with the Tennessee Brewers Guild as well. So excited to see that open. Finally, we opened December 31st, 2021. So heading into 2022, 28 trail members. We have 8 calendar events coming up this year. We're adding 2 in Nashville as well as 1 in Chattanooga. We've opened our airport restaurant. We hosted our first legislative reception in 7 years back in January, and I appreciate those of you who were able to attend. And we're doing our first economic impact report. So I hope hopefully by the end of this session, we'll be able to give you some firm and concrete numbers on the impact Tennessee distilleries are having across the state. And we were also able to hire our first full-time marketing director. Chapter. Just highlighting a few of the partnerships, as I mentioned, Tennessee Tourism is a huge partner for us. They help us promote the Tennessee Whiskey Trail through a lot of different initiatives, including a co-op marketing grant that we do with them. In January, we hosted our first co-meeting with wine and beer as well as farmers to connect the industries together so that we could use more local inputs in our whiskeys and our spirits. Obviously, that lens that we're Pick Tennessee products because we're made here in Tennessee, and several of our members are Tennessee Sustainable Spirits members looking to protect the environment and create sustainable practices in the distillery industry. And along those lines with Pick Tennessee, you'll even see in some of your retail stores around you that we highlight Tennessee Distillers Guild members and try to let people know how they can support local. And then last but not least, we are members and supportive of organizations like Women of the Vine and Spirits, which encourages more women to get into the distilling industry, as well as responsibility.org, which is a national organization that looks to reduce underage drinking as well as drunk driving. So I appreciate the chance to kind of give you an update on all that we've done over the past few years. It's been really rewarding work.
Great. Thank you very much, Matt. Do you have anything to follow up following that, sir?
Hard to follow that, but just
tell us about when did you get started, Matt?
we opened our doors October of 2016. Prior to that, I was a firefighter for Clarksville Fire Rescue for about 4 years.
Wonderful. Thank you for your service there.
Yep, thank you. Love the job. I miss it a lot. No, we primarily started off making Tennessee whiskey and bourbon, which obviously takes a little bit to age. And so being 5 years old now, we finally have some quality Tennessee whiskey and bourbon that we're proud to release to you guys. So,
wonderful.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Again, thank you both. And now it's Q&A time, guys. Do we have any questions from the committee members? Do y'all have any? Yes, we do. Representative Beck, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to compliment Matt. We had a chance to taste test his Old Glory, and it is really, really, really good whiskey. And we thank you for wanting to be an entrepreneur, and most importantly, you're Curtis Johnson's constituent. So
that's right.
Appreciate you being here today.
Yep, thank you very much.
That's true. That's most important here. Leadership. That good point there. Representative Beck. Chairman Jernigan, you're recognized.
Matt, I'm in room 572.
Yes, sir.
I haven't yet to sample anything. And by the way, I have a graduate degree from Mitsu as well. So I'm not offended by that term.
Go Raiders.
Go Raiders. That's right. Further questions? Yes, I'm sorry. Chairman Rickon, forgive me. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The three cast, I'm not sure, brewery or distillery at the
Restaurant.
airport. Two questions. What concourse is it located on? And is it owned by your association or is it a private sector owned?
It's in
Retailer.
it's in Concourse C down at the Southwest Terminal or gates, and it is owned by a third party. We are not owners in it. We just are represented on the shelves.
Good. All right. All right. Further questions? I see none. So, all right. So thank you all again very much. Appreciate it. We'll go back into session and now I see the end is near. Do I have any objections to someone giving me a motion to? Yes, we do. We have a motion and a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you.